The golden sun was beginning to dip behind the castle towers of Enchancia, scattering hues of pink and orange across the sky. Inside the royal halls, Princess Sofia was bustling with excitement. Tonight wasn't just any night. It was a night of her very first royal slumber party. Her lavender gown shimmered as she hurried between rooms, carrying a stack of hand-painted invitations tied with soft lilac ribbons. "Everything has to be perfect," Sofia said, her eyes sparkling with determination. "Amber, do you think everyone will come?" Princess Amber, sitting at her vanity and adjusting her golden tiara, smiled proudly. "Of course they'll come, Sofia. No one will ever turn down a royal sleepover in Enchancia, especially one hosted by you." Sofia grinned. "I hope you're right." The invitations had already been sent to Princess Hildegard, Princess Clio, Princess Vivian from Zamaria, and Princess June from Wailing. Each one promised a night filled with laughter, pillow forts, games, and maybe even a bit of enchanted fun. Down in the kitchens, Baileywick was busy preparing trays of tiny pastries, chocolate-dipped strawberries, and warm cocoa with marshmallows shaped like crowns. "A proper slumber feast for proper princesses," he said proudly as the cooks nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, Clover the rabbit hopped into the ballroom, sniffing the sweet air. I can tell this party's going to be delicious," he said, twitching his nose. "Tell me there's carrot cake." Sofia laughed as she knelt to pat his head. "Yes, Clover, there's carrot cake, but you'll have to share." The ballroom was being transformed into a dreamlike wonderland. Baileywick and the castle decorators had spread thick, fluffy rugs across the floor and stacked piles of satin pillows in shades of lavender, gold, and rose. Twinkling lanterns floated overhead, glowing like tiny stars. The air smelled faintly of vanilla and enchanted flowers. Amber walked through the room, inspecting the setup. "Not bad," she said, fluffing one of the pillows. "Just make sure no one spills cocoa on my royal blanket." Sofia giggled. "I'll do my best, Your Highness." When everything was finally ready, Sofia stepped back to admire their work. The ballroom looked magical. Soft lights danced across the walls. The ceiling shimmered with illusionary stars, and the tables sparkled with trays of sweets. Clover hopped onto one of the cushions. "You sure this is a slumber party and not a royal banquet?" Sofia smiled warmly. "Why can't it be both?" That night, Sofia went to her balcony. The moon hung high, glowing softly over the castle. She looked out at the distant kingdoms where her friends lived and whispered, "I can't wait to see them all again." Her amulet shimmered faintly against her neck, pulsing with a quiet magic, as if sensing the excitement in her heart. But far below, in the royal gardens, something curious stirred. A faint, playful breeze twirled through the moonlit hedges, rustling the petals of the enchanted flowers. It swirled toward the castle, invisible yet alive, like a spark of mischief carried on the wind. Unseen by Sofia, the magical lanterns in the ballroom flickered once, then twice, before glowing brighter than before. The faint sound of giggling drifted through the air, as though the castle itself was laughing softly in anticipation. Sofia turned from the balcony and smiled to herself. "Tomorrow's going to be the best night ever," she said as she headed to bed, unaware that a little bit of enchanted adventure was already on its way. And so, as the stars blinked above Enchancia, the royal castle shimmered with sleepy, magical energy, ready to welcome its guests and perhaps one very unexpected surprise. Morning sunlight poured through the castle windows, painting the marble floors in golden warmth. Sofia was already awake, pacing by the grand staircase in her lavender gown. Her hair was tied with silken ribbon, and her eyes sparkled with excitement. "Baileywick, are the rooms ready?" "The carriages should start arriving soon," she called. Baileywick gave a patient smile. "Everything is perfectly prepared, Your Highness. The guest chambers have been scented with rose water, the tea service is polished, and the cocoa is warm." Amber glided down the stairs beside her sister, her golden robe trailing elegantly. "Let's make sure everything stays perfect. No muddy shoes, no messy crumbs, and definitely no frogs in the punch bowl." Clover, nibbling on a carrot at the base of the stairs, looked up with a mischievous grin. "You say that like it's a bad idea." Sofia giggled. "Let's just try to keep this one frog free, Clover." The sound of wheels crunching over the gravel courtyard made her heart leap. She hurried outside as the first royal carriage arrived, gleaming with emerald accents. The door opened, and out stepped Princess Vivian of Zamaria, her faithful dragon Crackle hovering behind with a small puff of smoke. "Sophia," Vivian exclaimed, running to hug her. "I brought my guitar. Maybe we can play a song later." Sophia smiled warmly. "Of course. We'll have music, games, and midnight cocoa. Everything a slumber party needs." Moments later, another carriage rolled in, this one sleek and red, decorated with wailing symbols. Princess June stepped out gracefully, bowing with a smile. "Thank you for inviting me, Sophia. I brought moonlight cookies from my kingdom." Amber clasped her hands. "Oh, how lovely and so elegantly wrapped." One by one, more guests arrived. Hildegard swept in wearing a flowing silver gown, and Clio followed with her pet kitten, purring in a little basket. The courtyard buzzed with greetings and laughter as the princesses exchanged hugs and compliments. As evening approached, the grand ballroom came alive with cheerful chatter. Sophia had arranged everything perfectly. Pillows shaped like crowns, enchanted floating lanterns, and a magical dream tent built with sparkly curtains and soft lights. Amber twirled in her nightgown, inspecting the glowing decorations. "I must say, Sophia, this is absolutely enchanting." Clover hopped onto a nearby cushion. "You mean enchanting like magical? Or enchanting like there's actual magic floating around?" Before Sophia could answer, one of the lanterns flickered. Then another. The room dimmed for a brief moment. That's strange," Vivian said softly. "The windows are closed. No wind could have caused that." The flickering stopped, and the lights brightened again. Everyone relaxed, assuming it was just a small magical hiccup. The girls resumed their chatter, sipping cocoa and exchanging royal sleepover stories. June showed them how to fold paper cranes that fluttered on their own, while Amber and Hildegard tried to see who could balance their tiaras the longest. Sophia smiled at her friends, feeling her heart fill with joy. Everything was perfect, almost too perfect. Later that night, as the girls prepared for their first game, a faint whisper drifted through the air. It sounded like laughter, soft, playful, and echoing from nowhere. "Did anyone hear that?" Clio asked, clutching her kitten. Vivian glanced around. "Maybe it's just the wind again." But Sophia wasn't so sure. Her amulet pulsed gently against her neck, glowing faintly in the dim light. Amber yawned dramatically. "If the castle's trying to talk, it can wait until morning." The others laughed, and the sound filled the room again, bright, warm, and royal. Yet beneath it, that same whisper lingered, teasing the air like a secret only the castle knew. Outside, the moon rose higher, casting silver light through the tall windows. Deep within the enchanted halls of Enchancia, something old and playful was waking up, and the royal slumber party had only just begun. The moon hung high over Enchancia, its silver light spilling through the castle windows. The slumber party was in full swing. Laughter echoed in the ballroom as the princesses played royal charades, sipped cocoa, and told funny stories from their kingdoms. Amber was pretending to be a royal swan, while the others guessed wildly. "A duck!" shouted Vivian. Amber huffed. "A swan. Honestly, Vivian, can't you see the elegance?" Everyone burst into laughter, rolling on the soft pillows spread across the floor. Even Clover chuckled from his seat by the snack table, nibbling another slice of carrot cake. Then a sudden chill brushed through the air. The floating lanterns flickered again, dimming the soft glow that bathed the room. Sophia's laughter faded. "Did anyone feel that?" she asked softly. June glanced toward the tall windows. "All the shutters are closed. Maybe it's just a night wind?" But the strange breeze didn't stop. It whispered past the curtains, tickling the candles until they swayed. The pillows ruffled on their own, as if invisible hands brushed over them. Amber crossed her arms. "If this is someone's idea of a prank, it's not funny." Clio hugged her kitten close. "Maybe the castle is haunted." Clover's ears perked up. "Haunted? You didn't say there'd be ghosts, Sophia." Sophia tried to calm everyone down, though her heart was beating fast. "No one panic. Remember what I've learned. Magic doesn't happen for no reason. Let's find out what's going on." She took her glowing amulet in her hands. It shimmered softly, as though agreeing with her. "All right," Sophia said firmly. "Let's investigate. We'll be the Slumber Sleuth Squad." Vivian grinned. "Ooh, I like the sound of that." She grabbed her guitar. A little music always helps during a mystery. Amber sighed, but curiosity got the better of her. "Fine, but if anything jumps out, I'm hiding behind Sophia." The princesses tiptoed through quiet corridors, their slippers barely making a sound. The castle felt different now, alive in a way it hadn't been before. Paintings seemed to follow them with curious eyes, and faint giggles echoed faintly from nowhere. They reached the library, where moonlight spilled through stained glass windows, painting colorful shapes across the shelves. The air was thick with enchantment. "Look," June whispered, "one of the books is moving." Indeed, a large, dusty tome on the top shelf was trembling slightly. Sophia reached up, pulling it down carefully. It opened on its own, the pages fluttering until they landed on one titled "The Spirit of the Slumber Castle." Vivian read aloud. "It says here that every 100 years, the castle awakens a playful spirit. It tests the friendship and joy of whoever stays within its walls." Amber frowned. "A spirit that tests us? That's absurd." Sophia tilted her head thoughtfully. "Or maybe it's true. Maybe the castle just wants to see if we can stay united, even when strange things happen." Suddenly, a small breeze circled the room, swirling around the princesses like a tiny whirlwind. The candles flickered, then burst into sparkles. Pillows from the slumber room came floating through the door, bouncing softly through the air. They giggled, like little clouds full of laughter. The princesses gasped, then began to laugh too. "Okay," Vivian said between giggles. "I think the spirit's awake." Amber ducked as a pillow floated by. "And it has terrible manners." Sophia's eyes twinkled. "Maybe it's not trying to scare us. Maybe it wants to play." The girls exchanged glances, realizing she might be right. The enchanted pillow zoomed out of the library, leaving a trail of glitter behind. Sophia smiled, her heart racing with excitement. "Well, Slumber Sleuth Squad, looks like we've just found our next mystery." And with that, the princesses hurried after the glowing trail, laughter echoing through the moonlit halls as the real adventure of the slumber party began. The enchanted pillows drifted down the long hallway like a parade of fluffy clouds, glowing faintly with golden light. Giggles echoed from nowhere, soft and playful, as if the castle itself were laughing. Sophia and her friends hurried after them, slippered feet tapping gently against the marble floor. "Wait!" Sophia called, stifling a laugh as one pillow floated right past her nose. "We just want to talk." Amber huffed as another pillow bounced off her shoulder. "These things are rude. I knew we should have stayed in the ballroom." Vivian grinned, clutching her guitar. "Or maybe they're inviting us to play." Clover hopped behind the princesses, ears flopping. "You can all play. I'm staying right here. Pillows don't usually fly on their own, and I don't trust anything that giggles without a mouth." The pillow trail led the group into one of the grand galleries of Enchancia Castle. Moonlight shimmered through the stained glass, and portraits of past royals seemed to smile down as if amused by the commotion. Suddenly, one of the enchanted pillows swooped low, bumping gently into June. "Hey," she laughed. "It's like it's trying to start a pillow fight." Before anyone could react, whoosh! The rest of the pillows zoomed in, surrounding the princesses in a fluffy whirlwind. Amber ducked behind a curtain. "This is not part of the royal agenda," she squealed. Sophia, laughing now, raised a pillow of her own. "Then I guess it's time for the first ever royal pillow chase." The others joined in, shrieking with joy as the enchanted pillows twirled through the air, playfully bumping and bouncing off everyone. Vivian strummed her guitar in rhythm, turning the chaos into a magical melody. June twirled through the air with perfect grace, her movements matching the floating lights. Even Amber couldn't resist smiling when one soft, pink pillow landed neatly in her arms. "All right, fine," she said with a sigh. "But if my hair gets ruined, I'm blaming the ghost." The girls laughed until their sides hurt. The pillows seemed delighted, their glow brightened, scattering golden dust around the room like stardust. After a while, the whirlwind of pillows began to calm. They gently floated into a pattern, forming a glowing trail that shimmered down the hallway. Sophia wiped a tear of laughter from her eye. Looks like they want us to follow again. Or they're leading us into a trap, Clover muttered, but he hopped along anyway. The trail led the princesses down a staircase that sparkled faintly with magic. The air was cool and filled with the faint scent of lilies and sugar pastries. They emerged into the grand ballroom, now transformed beyond recognition. The one soft lighting had changed to a silvery glow. Ribbons of light drifted through the air like streams of moonlight. The enchanted pillows stacked themselves into towers and arches, forming something that looked like an entrance. Vivian gasped. It's like a doorway made of dreams. Amber tilted her head. Do we go in? Sophia's amulet pulsed gently against her neck, shining with warm lavender light. Yes, she said softly. I think this is where the spirit wants us to go. With hearts pounding, the girls stepped through the glowing archway. Instantly, the air shimmered around them, and the sound of soft music filled the hall. Clover blinked. Whoa! Are we still in the castle? They weren't. Or at least, not the castle as they knew it. Before them stretched a vast, open space filled with floating stars and clouds. The floor beneath them glowed like glass, and every step sent ripples of light spreading outward. June whispered in awe, It's beautiful, like walking in a dream. Sophia smiled, her eyes wide with wonder. Maybe that's exactly where we are. Behind them, the enchanted pillows stacked themselves neatly, sealing the archway. The playful laughter faded into the wind. The princesses had followed the magic, and now they stood at the entrance of the ballroom of dreams. The princesses stood in awe, gazing at the breathtaking sight before them. The ballroom had transformed into a floating wonderland. Shimmering clouds served as a floor, while ribbons of silver light twirled around like living streams. Above them, constellations sparkled brighter than any chandelier. Vivian whispered, It's like we stepped into the sky. Amber blinked, momentarily forgetting to fuss about her hair. I can't even be dramatic about this. It's stunning. Clover hopped onto a small puff of cloud, his nose twitching. It's beautiful and all, but are we sure this is safe? I don't exactly have wings, you know. Sophia smiled gently, her amulet glowing softly against her chest. The castle brought us here for a reason. We just have to trust the magic. A soft, melodic hum filled the air. The stars shimmered brighter, and a figure began to appear at the center of the room, tall, graceful, and glowing with gentle light. It was shaped like a woman made of moonlight itself, her form draped in silvery mist. Welcome, Princess Sofia of Enchancia, said the spirit, her voice soft and musical, echoing like the wind through crystal bells. And welcome, princesses of faraway lands. You have awakened the heart of the castle. Sophia stepped forward bravely. Are you the spirit of the Slumber Castle? The figure smiled, her light flickering softly. Yes, I am the guardian of dreams, the laughter that lingers in these halls. Every century, I awaken to test the joy within this place. For laughter and friendship are what keep Enchancia alive. June bowed politely. We didn't mean to disturb you. We were just having a slumber party. Indeed you were, said the spirit kindly, and your laughter brought me forth. But before the night ends, there is one last test complete, the dream dance. Amber blinked. A test? Does it involve more floating pillows? The spirit laughed, a sound like gentle chimes. No, dear princess, it is a dance of unity. Only through harmony can the castle's heart return to rest. With a wave of her hand, the clouds beneath them began to swirl, forming glowing steps. A melody drifted through the air, soft, yet full of magic. Sophia turned to her friends. We can do this together. Vivian began to strum her guitar, and the spirit's melody joined hers, blending beautifully. June moved gracefully to the rhythm, her wailing training showing in every step. Clio twirled with her kitten purring on her shoulder, and Amber, after a dramatic sigh, took Sophia's hand and joined in. The dance began, gentle at first, then full of laughter and light. Every movement left trails of sparkling dust, painting patterns in the air. Sophia felt her heart glowing with warmth as she moved in perfect rhythm with her friends. "This," she whispered, "is what true friendship feels like." The spirit watched them, her light pulsing brighter with every joyful laugh. "You have passed my test," she said softly. "You have shown that friendship, joy, and kindness are the greatest enchantments of all." A wave of light spread outward, filling the ballroom with brilliance. The clouds shimmered, and the stars seemed to sing. When the glow faded, the spirit was gone, her laughter lingering like a lullaby in the air. The room returned to normal, the marble floor gleaming under moonlight. Amber brushed a curl from her face. "Well," she said with a little smile, "that was surprisingly magical." Vivian laughed. "You mean surprisingly fun." Sophia smiled, her eyes bright. "We did it together." The amulet around her neck gave one last, gentle gleam, as if whispering that the castle was finally at peace. The girls looked at each other, hearts full and cheeks flushed with joy. Their slumber party had turned into something far beyond any of their dreams, a magical memory they would treasure forever. When the ballroom shimmered back to its familiar self, the princesses stood blinking in amazement. The stars that sparkled above were gone, replaced once more by chandeliers and silk curtains. For a long moment, no one spoke. The magic had left behind a hush, that sweet, glowing stillness that only follows a perfect adventure. Amber was the first to break the silence. "Well," she said, straightening her golden tiara, "I suppose it means the spirit of the Slumber Castle approved of our party." Vivian smiled, still holding her guitar. "I think she more than approved. She celebrated with us." Clover, peeking out from behind a stack of pillows, sniffed the air. "You know what else would be worth celebrating? A snack, preferably one with frosting." The girls burst into giggles, and Sophia grinned. "Actually, Clover, you might just get your wish." They followed her back into the main ballroom where, to their surprise, Baileywick had quietly prepared a midnight feast while they were gone. The long tables glittered under candlelight, laden with all kinds of royal treats, sugar-dusted cupcakes, glowing berry tarts, cream-filled pastries, and of course, a grand carrot cake right in the center. Clover's eyes widened. "Now, this is the kind of magic I understand." The princesses gathered around the table, their laughter echoing once more through the hall. They filled their plates with sweets, sipped warm cocoa topped with enchanted whipped cream, and told stories of the magical dance they'd just shared. "I still can't believe we floated through the sky," June said dreamily, nibbling on a moon-shaped cookie. "It felt like dancing inside a dream." Amber leaned back with a satisfied sigh. "For once, I agree. That spirit had excellent taste in ballroom design." Sophia smiled at her sister. "You were pretty great out there, too, Amber." Amber blinked, surprised, then smiled softly. "I suppose I was." Vivian began softly strumming her guitar again, humming a gentle tune. The sound filled the air with calm warmth. "Let's sing something," she suggested. "A lullaby from each of our kingdoms." And so they did. One by one, the princesses sang, each voice unique, yet blending together beautifully. June's song was delicate and graceful, like rippling water. Vivian's melody shimmered with warmth and harmony. Amber's voice, though proud and practiced, softened as it joined Sophia's sweet, gentle tone. Even Clover hummed along through a mouthful of cake, earning a chorus of laughter from the girls. When the songs faded, the room was bathed in soft candlelight. The mood had shifted, no longer bright and playful, but peaceful, full of love and understanding. Sophia looked around at her friends, her heart full. "Tonight wasn't just about fun or magic," she said quietly. "It was about being together, about how friendship can turn even a simple slumber party into something extraordinary." Amber nodded. "And maybe learning that teamwork is more important than perfect decorations." Vivian smiled. "Or that laughter is stronger than any enchantment." June raised her cocoa mug. "To Sophia, the kindest princess I know, and to all of us for sharing this night." Everyone raised their cups and echoed together. "To friendship." They drank their cocoa with giggles and smiles. The candles flickered gently, and outside, the moon hung low over the towers of Enchancia. As the feast came to an end, the girls began to yawn and stretch. Baileywick arrived quietly with blankets made of enchanted silk. "Rest well, your highnesses," he said warmly. "You've earned it." One by one, the princesses snuggled into their pillows beneath the glittering lanterns. Crackle curled up beside Vivian, purring softly, while Clover burrowed happily into a tiny blanket by Sophia's side. Sophia gazed up at the ceiling, which still shimmered faintly with traces of dream magic. Her amulet glowed one last time, soft and steady. "Good night, Enchancia," she whispered, "and thank you for the most magical slumber party ever." Then, wrapped in warmth and friendship, Sophia drifted into peaceful sleep, her dreams filled with laughter, moonlight, and the bond that only true friends could share. The first rays of dawn crept softly across the Enchancia sky, painting the castle towers in shades of gold and rose. Inside the grand ballroom, the faint light filtered through the draped curtains, gently waking the slumbering princesses. One by one, they stirred beneath their cozy blankets, their hair tousled and tiaras slightly askew from a night of magical dreams. Sophia was the first to open her eyes. For a moment, she simply lay there, listening to the quiet rhythm of her friend's breathing. Crackle was curled beside Vivian, snoring softly, while Clover lay on his back with his tiny paws twitching, clearly dreaming of more carrot cake. Sophia smiled to herself. The night had been more magical than she ever could have imagined, from the glowing stars in the ballroom to the spirit of the Slumber castle herself. Every moment had shimmered with laughter, music, and the warmth of friendship. Amber let out a tiny yawn and blinked sleepily. "Morning already?" she murmured, rubbing her eyes. "I don't think I've ever been to a royal event that lasted this long." Vivian sat up, her hair falling in gentle curls around her shoulders. "It feels like we've lived a whole fairy tale," she said softly. June stretched and smiled. "Maybe we did." Just then, Baileywick entered the room with his usual calm cheer. "Good morning, princesses. I trust you all enjoyed your evening." Amber grinned. "It was memorable. You could say we had one enchanted night." Baileywick raised an eyebrow, noticing the faint traces of stardust still glimmering across the floor. "Indeed," he replied politely, though his eyes twinkled with amusement. "Breakfast will be served in the garden. You might want to freshen up before joining the king and queen." As he left, the girls exchanged knowing smiles. "Breakfast in the garden sounds perfect," Sophia said. "Let's go before Clover eats all the pastries again." Clover sat up, feigning offense. "Hey, I only ate like half." The girls burst into laughter once more. After changing into fresh gowns, the princesses made their way to the royal garden. Morning dew sparkled on every leaf, and the air smelled of jasmine and honey. A long table had been set beneath a canopy of wisteria, laden with golden pancakes, fruit tarts, and crystal pitchers of juice that shimmered like sunrise. King Roland and Queen Miranda greeted them warmly. "Good morning, girls," Queen Miranda said. "We hope your slumber party went well." Amber and Sophia exchanged glances. "You could say that," Sophia replied with a mysterious smile. They all settled around the table, sharing cheerful chatter about the night before, though they carefully left out the part about enchanted mirrors and dancing spirits. Some magic, Sophia thought, was meant to be a secret between friends. As breakfast came to a close, June sighed contentedly. "I wish every night could be like that." Vivian nodded. "We'll always remember it, and maybe next time we'll have the slumber party in Dunwoody under the stars." Sophia's eyes lit up. "That's a wonderful idea." Amber smiled, twirling her teacup. "As long as we have proper pillows and a full dessert table, I'm in." Everyone laughed again, the sound mingling with the soft morning breeze. Later, as the princesses prepared to return to their kingdoms, Sophia stood by the balcony overlooking the castle grounds. The world below glittered with life, the courtyard bustling, the sky wide and bright. She clutched her amulet gently, feeling it glow against her hand. "You were right, amulet," she whispered. "Friendship really is the greatest magic of all." Amber stepped beside her, linking her arm through Sophia's. "So, same time next year?" Sophia giggled. "You bet." As the carriages rolled away, Sophia waved until they disappeared beyond the hills. Then she turned back toward the castle, her heart warm and full. That night, She would write everything in her royal diary, about laughter, glowing stars, and a spirit who loved to dance. But most of all, she'd write about the bond that had grown even stronger between her and her friends. The slumber party of Enchancia would forever be remembered, not for its decorations or its desserts, but for the magic that came from kindness, courage, and love. And as the castle bells chimed softly in the morning breeze, Sophia whispered one last promise to herself. No matter where our adventures take us, we'll always find our way back to each other. The sun rose high, bathing Enchancia in golden light, a perfect ending to a night of friendship, laughter, and dreams come true.